If I ask you who you are, you will probably hand me a list of labels: your job, your family role, the social or political tribes you belong to. We instinctively build our sense of self out of these external materials. But imagine the concrete holding all those labels together is completely cracked. Think about what happens if your core assumption about who you are is entirely wrong. Ancient yoga philosophy calls this original error Avidya, a deep-seated ignorance or misidentification of your true nature. It is the failure to see what you actually are beneath the surface. Not knowing your true self, you construct an alternate identity, an ego, to stand in for the void. This second step is called Asmitā. When these two roots, ignorance and ego, tangle together, they lock into place. This entanglement creates a massive psychological trap. You spend your life fiercely defending a house built on an empty lot, treating the illusion as though your survival depends on it. When scaled up, this mechanism builds entire toxic cultures, blinding millions of people simultaneously. And at the personal level, it possesses enough power to make incredibly noble people actively reject their own freedom. Take the story of Virochana from the ancient Chāndogya Upanishad. He was the king of a massive civilization called the Asuras. Seeking enlightenment, Virochana sat before a master teacher for 32 years to discover the true nature of the self. The teacher gave him an introductory lesson, stating that the reflection he saw in the water was the self. Virochana heard this, accepted it as absolute truth, and walked away completely satisfied. He stopped asking questions. He returned to his kingdom and taught his people exactly what he thought he learned. He declared that the physical body is the ultimate self. Worship the body, beautify it, serve it. That single individual misunderstanding rapidly multiplied. Virochana's private illusion was codified into a public doctrine, passed down from generation to generation. This diagram maps that cultural transmission. A singular error branches out, generating a collective ego built on physical superiority, beauty, and strict hierarchy. The people trapped inside weren't malicious. They operated sincerely, following a flawed premise their culture handed down to them as truth. Once misidentification is woven into a society's values, it creates a rigid architecture that is invisible and nearly impossible to question from the inside. We see the exact same trap snap shut on the individual level in the Mahābhārata through an ancient warrior named Karna. Karna grew up in a rigid social hierarchy, believing he was a lowly charioteer's son. He didn't know he was secretly the firstborn son of a queen and the sun god. His ignorance of his own divine nature was literal. Unlike Virochana's vain culture, the identity Karna constructed on his false foundation was characterized by extreme discipline, hard work, and nobility. He trained obsessively to become the greatest archer in the world. Yet when he stepped into the arena to demonstrate his skills, the ruling class mocked him. They refused to let him compete simply because of his low birth. During this public humiliation, a royal named Duryodhana stepped out of the crowd. He offered Karna radical acceptance, crowning him a king on the spot. For the rest of his life, Karna built his identity on two unshakable pillars: his unmatched excellence as a warrior and a fierce, undying loyalty to the man who saved him from disgrace. An identity built on a lie does not guarantee a villain. It frequently produces genuine heroism, which paradoxically anchors the illusion with the weight of one's own virtues. Years later, on the eve of a catastrophic war against his own biological brothers, the divine figure Krishna approaches Karna. He reveals the secret of Karna's royal birth. Krishna offers him everything. He tells Karna he can claim the throne of the empire, receive universal recognition as the eldest prince, and finally trade his forged identity for his true nature. Karna refuses. Given the choice between ultimate truth and his constructed ego, he chooses to die as the person he invented. He explains to Krishna that when the world rejected him, his forged identity gave him a purpose. That false foundation produced real relationships, profound gratitude, and actual meaning. He simply cannot abandon the people who gave him a place in the world. This exposes the terrifying power of the ego. The identities we construct to survive our ignorance often become tangibly more real to us than the underlying truth of who we actually are. Whether it is an entire civilization organizing around physical superiority, or a single hero maintaining an oath of loyalty. These false realities are kept alive by sincere belief, not malice. True liberation requires the willingness to be disturbed by partial truths. It demands the specific, harrowing bravery required to dismantle a constructed identity, the act of tearing down a self we have spent a lifetime loving.